What if you could retire right now and never pay income tax again? No IRS letters, no federal deductions, just you, your money, and complete financial freedom. Sounds like a fantasy? It's not. Across the globe, there are countries and territories offering a radical promise. 0% personal income tax, yes, zero. But here's the twist. Many of these places hide their own traps, crushing VATs, sky-high living costs, or visa schemes designed to bleed your wallet dry. In this video, we're counting down 10 places where you can legally retire offshore with zero income tax in 2025. But don't let the zero fool you, because behind every paradise is a policy, a price, and a potential problem. Could one of these countries be your next home or your biggest financial mistake? Stick around until number 1. Because what you'll discover there could flip your entire retirement plan upside down. Let's dive in. Number 10. Bahrain may not be the first place you think of for retirement, but it should be at least on paper. With 0% personal income tax, this small but mighty Gulf nation has positioned itself as a legitimate tax-free retirement option. The country's revenue model is powered almost entirely by oil, with petroleum exports accounting for over 60% of government income. So while you're keeping 100% of your pension, Bahrain is paying the bills with crude. But here's where it gets tricky. Bahrain introduced a 10% value-added tax in 2019 that applies to nearly every non-essential item you'll buy, from groceries to electronics. And if you're investing, be warned, corporate profits in the oil and gas sector are taxed at an eye-popping 46%. That won't affect your personal retirement funds directly, but it paints a stark picture of how fast zero can become something. Thinking of staying long-term? Bahrain's Premium Investor Visa is your golden ticket. For roughly $265,000 bank deposit, you get 5 years of residency, renewable indefinitely. That's great if you've got capital, but is it worth that kind of lockup just to avoid US taxes? Retiring in Bahrain means embracing a desert kingdom where income is untouched, but your spending isn't. And in a region where economic volatility is just one oil shock away, the question remains, how long can Bahrain keep its zero tax illusion intact? Number 9. Brunei Darussalam. Backed by massive oil and gas revenues, this tiny sultanate has long maintained one of Asia's most robust welfare systems while asking nothing from your retirement income. It sounds ideal, right? Here's the kicker. Brunei's GDP per capita sits at over $33,500, comparable to Japan and South Korea, yet consumer choices are limited, and infrastructure outside the capital can feel stagnant. There's no VAT, and import duties are capped at just 3%, making everyday expenses more manageable than in most tax havens. But you're also trading convenience for tax freedom. Western-style amenities, nightlife, and healthcare are minimal. Brunei's corporate tax rate is 18.5%, but unless you're starting a business, that won't concern you. However, retirees should know that long-term residency is no cakewalk here. The immigration system isn't built around foreign retirees. There's no official retirement visa, so unless you're marrying in or bringing serious capital, expect bureaucratic dead ends. So what's the real cost of tax freedom in Brunei? Maybe it's not money but lifestyle. If you're willing to trade vibrancy for serenity, this quiet monarchy might be your haven. But make no mistake, Brunei is tax-free, not culture-free. Are you ready for that trade? Number 8. Vanuatu. You've probably never heard of Vanuatu, but this South Pacific archipelago offers one of the world's boldest deals. No income, capital gains, inheritance, or wealth tax period. It's a tax ghost town, backed by an unusual model, selling citizenship. Vanuatu's international business companies pay a $300 flat annual license fee for a 20-year tax exemption. This has made the island nation a magnet for global digital nomads, crypto whales, and offshore investors. As a retiree, that means your investment returns and pension payments are off limits to the local government. Citizenship by investment starts at $130,000. And it's fast. You could get your Vanuatu passport in just 30 to 60 days, unlocking visa-free access to 97 countries, including the UK, Hong Kong, and Russia. But here's the red flag. International pressure is growing over Vanuatu's lax financial scrutiny. The European Union and FATF have both raised concerns, and policy shifts could be sudden. Want a quiet beach and no taxman? Vanuatu checks every box. But don't be naive. As global crackdowns intensify, can Vanuatu keep selling tax-free dreams, or is this island paradise on borrowed time? Number 7. St. Kitts and Nevis. This Caribbean twin island nation has 0% personal income tax, 0 capital gains tax, and no inheritance or gift tax for residents. Sounds perfect, right? Well, there's a catch, and it's a big one. If you're not a full resident, the government hits non-resident income with a 15% withholding tax on dividends, interest, and royalties. That could quietly erode your returns if you're not careful. But if you're serious about staying, citizenship by investment starts at $250,000. In 2024 alone, over 2,000 foreigners bought in, attracted by tax perks and passport prestige. While income is untaxed, spending is another story. There's no VAT, but expect steep import duties, especially on vehicles and electronics. Property values have soared, particularly in Frigate Bay and Christophe Harbour, raising concerns of a real estate bubble driven by foreign demand. Is St. Kitts really a retirement haven or a glorified offshore ATM for the ultra-rich? If you can afford the ticket, the rewards are real. But are you buying a lifestyle or just tax shelter with ocean views? Number 6. British Virgin Islands. Legendary in offshore circles for one reason: 0 personal, corporate, capital gains, or inheritance taxes. This British overseas territory runs on financial secrecy and offshore trust structures, not tax forms or pension deductions. But 0 isn't quite 0. The BVI enforces an 8% payroll withholding tax, split between employers and employees. If you're drawing income locally, that applies, but if you're living off foreign retirement savings or investment income, you're in the clear. The BVI has no public registry of beneficial owners, making it a magnet for shell companies and opaque asset shelters. That's great for your privacy, but international regulators are watching closely. New transparency rules from the UK and OECD are slowly tightening the screws. As a retiree, you'll need to prove financial independence and meet residency rules, but once you're in, the government largely leaves you alone. The real question isn't whether you'll pay tax, it's whether you can handle the cost of isolation and constant regulatory risk. Is total tax freedom worth the uncertainty? Number 5. Cayman Islands. There's no personal income tax, no corporate tax, and 0 capital gains tax. Retirees pay nothing on pensions, social security, or investment returns. It sounds like the ultimate deal. But what's the real price of 0? Start with property. Stamp duties on real estate purchases hit 7.5%, and that's just the beginning. Almost everything you consume is imported, and import tariffs routinely double the cost of basic goods. That $2 bottle of water? Easily 2 to 3 times US prices. The illusion of tax freedom collapses fast when you're spending $100 just to eat at home. Let's talk money. Caymanian banks manage over $4 trillion in global assets, making the country one of the world's largest financial centers per capita. But with financial power comes scrutiny. The Caymans have faced repeated crackdowns from the European Union, FATF, and OECD for lack of transparency. Your money might be safe, but it's never invisible. There's no formal retirement visa, so retirees typically rely on the Certificate of Permanent Residence for Persons of Independent means, a program that requires you to invest $2 million in local real estate. 0 income tax, yes. But is paying millions up front just to live there still worth it? Number 4. Bermuda. No personal income tax. No VAT. No capital gains tax. And yet, it remains one of the most expensive places on earth to live. How? Through quiet, calculated levies that most retirees don't realize until it's too late. Bermuda's government imposes an 8% to 10.25% payroll tax, a stealthy cut that hits anyone earning local income. While retirees living solely off foreign pensions may avoid this, Others who choose part-time consulting, property rentals, or remote work may get caught in the web. And come January 2025, Bermuda is rolling out a 15% corporate tax on large multinational companies, marking a major policy shift after decades of being no tax. Cost of living? Over $80,000 annually for a family of 4. And that's a modest lifestyle. A gallon of milk can cost $10. Electricity bills easily reach $400 a month. And with no direct access to surrounding islands, you're often forced to fly to the US or UK for basic medical services. So is Bermuda really a retiree haven, or just an elite tax shelter wrapped in pink sand and polo shirts? The views are stunning, the taxes are zero, but the cost of staying afloat could drown your savings. Number 3. Bahamas offers zero income, capital gains, corporate, and inheritance taxes for both residents and non-residents. On paper, it's a fiscal paradise, especially for US retirees looking for a tropical getaway with no IRS leash. But once you land, the truth hits fast. This paradise comes at a premium. The government makes up for its lack of direct taxation with the crushing 12% VAT, import duties up to 150%, and property transfer taxes up to 2%. Want to buy a car? Expect to pay double the US sticker price. Want to build a house? Materials are imported with huge markups. It's tax freedom disguised as consumption slavery, yet the rich keep coming. Between 2020 and 2024, real estate values jumped 25%, fueled by high net worth Americans and Europeans seeking tax shelter along Nassau's Gold Coast. That surge has priced out middle-class retirees, driving many to outer islands with weaker infrastructure and spotty services. There's no income tax, sure, but how long can your retirement fund survive in a country where every dollar you spend bleeds slowly into the government's hands? Is freedom from the IRS worth entering a consumption trap? Number 2. Monaco. No income tax since 1869. No capital gains tax. No inheritance tax for direct heirs. It's a zero-tax fortress wrapped in yachts, Ferraris, and real estate so pricey, it makes Manhattan look affordable. But don't get blinded by the glitz. Living here is reserved for the ultra-rich. With GDP per capita exceeding $190,000, Monaco isn't just tax-free, it's elite. The state funds itself with a 20% VAT, a 25% corporate tax for companies doing significant business abroad, and extreme property prices. A modest one-bedroom apartment can run you $5 million. Think that's exaggerated? That's the average. Residency requires proof of financial independence, clean criminal records, and a local bank account with at least 500,000 euros deposited. You'll also need to rent or buy property, which often means shelling out millions just for a studio apartment. Monaco doesn't want tourists, it wants tycoons. Still, if you're a retiree with the Wall Street exit or major capital gains to shelter, Monaco is bulletproof. No taxes, unmatched security, and a government that will never touch your income. But if you don't arrive rich, don't bother. Because here, the price of zero is a 7-figure entry fee. Number 1. United Arab Emirates. The UAE charges 0% personal income tax on salaries, pensions, dividends, and capital gains. It's not just tax-free, it's aggressively pro-capital, and with massive infrastructure, expat-friendly cities like Dubai and Abu Dhabi, and world-class healthcare, the UAE offers luxury, legality, and low taxation all in one. But don't be fooled. In 2023, the UAE introduced a 9% federal corporate tax, but only on profits exceeding $102,000. That means most retirees, especially those living off modest investments or pensions, are completely unaffected. It's surgical taxation, and for now, it's working. A 5% VAT applies to goods and services, which is relatively low by global standards. But the real challenge is cost of living. In major cities like Dubai, rents have surged over 20% in the past 2 years, and food, utilities, and healthcare don't come cheap. Want residency? You'll need to apply for a golden visa or retirement visa, each requiring minimum income or asset thresholds. Still, No country offers the same blend of tax freedom, luxury, living, and geopolitical stability like the way you can retire in a beachfront skyscraper, pay zero income tax, and still fly direct to over 200 destinations worldwide. Is this the future of tax-free retirement? For thousands of Americans and Europeans it already is. And that's what makes the way the #1 place to retire offshore in 2025. So there you have it, 10 places where you can retire with zero income tax in 2025. But don't let the zero blind you, because hidden behind every tax-free headline are steep VATs, entry fees, inflated living costs, or bureaucratic hurdles that could wreck your retirement plan overnight. The question isn't just, where can I keep my money? It's, where can I actually live the life I want, without the taxman or hidden traps coming after me later? So, will you choose paradise with the price, or freedom with the fine print? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more bold, controversial takes on global money, travel, and the policies shaping your future. Because in 2025, retirement isn't just a dream, it's a geopolitical decision.